Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting for the free group. Um, the thing that I'm going to be going through tonight is called it's a 72 hour affidavit of mailing third party. Basically, what this does is um, it allows you when you get served things to like send them back within a certain amount of time in a certain way, and you will it's called anna personam. It's it's basically where the actual person that's being served doesn't exist. So when you accept service, you're accepting service for that non-existent person. And by doing that, you are agreeing to be surety as soon as a cop hands it to you, as soon as you open the mail, anything. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So we'll just roll into it. All right. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. So, avoid being served trapped 72 hours to refuse. Okay. Escape harassment from government or local fraudsters within 72 hours. The first strategy, quick reply to any offer, is everything to shut it down. Never hide because they will try backdoor methods like publishing it in the newspaper or mail to a bad address. Then they claim it as it's been sent and then arrest you on a warrant, so on and so forth. So to avoid service of process, notice and acceptance may apply tax issues or any bill matter, ticket, bill, summons, indictment, warrant, so on and so forth. So regardless of how you were served, delivered, mailed, left at your home or office, etc., immediately mail copies and place them all in the original papers and documents in an envelope into a new envelope. In other words, if you open it, don't open it, like whatever, just take whatever you have and you got to put it in a new envelope. Okay. Immediately address the new envelope, the document sender's interest on it, and also use their address as their return address. Do not use a name or address on the new envelope. Okay. So you're just going to use the address. And then you have to do certified mail. So you don't want to do return receipt because they'll just not sign it. So you just do certified mail, which is the green tag, and then don't do the return receipt, and then you mail it both return and address is the same address. So if they try and refuse it, then it goes back to the same address, so it can't be refused. Okay. Do not use any headings, date, signature, anything like that, because all that stuff pulls you into jurisdiction and says you're the surety. Even if you are involved in an ongoing matter, each mailing they send you is an offer. So keep in mind, expect them to try to test you up to 3 times. The object here is to immediately return the unwanted presentment or offer in a pristine condition in the most neutral and non-committal manner possible. Do not rebut or argue or issue any point or address anything in their documents. To do so is something that is beneficial to one party or detrimental to another party. In other words, making an appearance and meeting the qualifications by not adding to their ammunition. You simply return the unwanted presentments. The only way to avoid their criminal fraud game is not to play. Do it within 72 hours of receipt, or after 72 hours, you just have to put nunc pro tunc to blah, blah, blah. Okay. You are effectively presenting this document as a misdirected posting being returned to the sender, even if delivered as a summons by mistake. Remember what I said earlier is that we are not the name that they are serving. So by accepting service, you are committing fraud. You're committing mail fraud. So before you even walk in the courtroom, you've already committed a felony. So that's why you have to return it. Delivery. So using a delivery confirmation as proof, okay, and except by retaining it, when you delay refusing and returning, it becomes an agreement for you to accept anything. They count on the mistake every time. Also, immediately send a courtesy copy with a copy of the postal delivery sub in general, an anonymous way to the court. Okay, so you also send a copy to the court, right? Confirmation method, the same deal. Um, no service delivery to you, no due process for you, you win. If in doubt, copy to all parties. Again, mail it with delivery confirmation to on the back where it came from. If from a court, do not go to court in person. Do not put your return address on the mailing. Just track it in an online for your records. The result, no agreement or contract for you to appear has been established. This is about offer and acceptance of a trust. So don't get caught up in the acceptance trick by not acting, hiding, or giving up your identification in the return process. The following is a neutral response, wording it right when sending it back. Send using delivery confirmation or certified mail. Do not use green return postcard. Just obtain the confirmation online and keep it in your files. Place the statement, third party affidavit of mailing on the top. Now, here's an example of it. Okay. I just did this today. Okay. Some lawyer from New York on a house deal that I was dealing with sent me some stupid cease and desist thing because I cussed them out online. And he sent me this, and so I took the Federal Express mailer, I put it in an envelope, and I wrote a letter. Third party affidavit of mailing, certified mail number. These enclosed documents were inadvertently received and opened by mistake. These enclosed documents, which appear to be to Kent Stark, are not understandable, acknowledgeable, or recognizable under the penalty of false personation, must be returned. The enclosure herein contains the aforementioned and misdirected documents, as there is not enough information or knowledge disclosed to form a responsive answer. Said documents are being returned forthwith. So, what I need you to understand what's happening here is you are appearing. The name is appearing in this letter when you send it back and telling them it's the wrong name. So they can't say didn't appear in court because the letter is your appearance. Okay. If they do not rebut and they accept it, no signatures or identifying information, there may be additional steps in this progress, but essentially you repeat this each time until they have remedies in place long term. So the rest of this is just Q and A's. Okay, so occur or it becomes they must serve you written notice, they must serve proper service, and they must have an acceptance of contract jurisdiction. The purpose of the system is to deprive them of all three of these. Okay. What is the process based on? Is the definition of contract, offer, acceptance. All right. What is the legal definition of acceptance? Intent to retain, right? So if you don't return it, that's acceptance. What is the legal definition of acceptance? Answer is definition of appearance is that if anything beneficial to one party or detrimental to another traverse in the appearance of the case and are the party of the case. So if it's not neutral, you have made an appearance and you therefore created controversy for. So, in other words, as soon as you create controversy, you create the environment where there's jurisdiction. How does the IRS coerce us, trick us into being subjected to their U.S. corporation regulations? Answer, income tax, IRS is collected by voluntary compliance. Uh, they base they use basic contract law. Once one volunteer into being regulated enterprise, one must comply with the regulations of that enterprise. That's it. So by implementing strategy one, um, It's unvolunteers, UN, right? United Nations. Terminates the presumption of contract. The simple procedure must be repeated each time they send an offer. What actually is lawfully required to file at the IRS? Answer: if you enjoy the government job, a privilege, not a right, or some other government granted benefit, privilege, license, title of nobility, so on, um, or accept the opportunity offered by the government, we cannot help you as one may actually owe tax. This is the return for every enjoying the privilege of benefit being enjoyed. International Shoe versus the state of Washington. Okay. How do courts jurisdiction over us? In order for them to have jurisdiction in a case or controversy, it requires a contract. Okay. No controversy, no jurisdiction by the court, no cause of action. Um, in in what are they doing? It's constitutional. Even the Declaration of Independence says government derives their just powers from the consent to be governed. So don't consent. Why must a courtesy copy be sent to the clerk? Answer is purpose of the escape strategy is to deprive the enemy of all due process requirements. So this document will be available to you, but that's essentially what it is that you are stepping in as the surety, and as soon as you accept service or open the mail, you've done that. And once you do that, then you have an obligation to perform. So what you have to do within 72 hours is return that. And you have to return it in a way where you're not pulling yourself into jurisdiction. So if you put a return address on there with a zip code, you're in jurisdiction. If you call them on the phone, you're in jurisdiction. If you go into the court, you're in jurisdiction. If you know any of that, it's all the same. Okay. So this whole process, and this isn't a very long one, but this whole process is very simple. It's just you take whatever bullshit they try and ram down your throat and you just send it back. And if they send it again, you send it back again. You just keep doing it. Okay. And it's important that you send them the originals. Make copies for yourself if you want. Okay. So this works because I did it. Okay. Um, I was in a situation where I had somebody living with me and they served me with a TRO, which is a temporary order of protection. And I used this and I never showed up to court. And it never flew because they couldn't prove service. So now I'm going to open this up to questions. Anybody that has any questions about this, feel free to ask.
Now, will the same work for presentments by a credit card company that, like, let's
Yeah.
say, sends you a letter, oh, you've been pre-approved for up to $1,700. So can I return it back to them the same way?
Yeah. You can use it
But
on anything. A bill, you can use it on, being served paperwork. It doesn't matter.
a traffic ticket?
Yeah. Get home, take the traffic ticket, send it back.
Okay, so it's pretty universal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
same, it's the same deal is that they have to have offer and acceptance.
So we don't necessarily have to accept everything conditionally. We can reject some of the mailings. But
Yeah.
how do you determine which ones you can
The
reject and which
easiest
ones you
one
have
is
to
the
accept?
easiest way is to just freaking write return to sender on it and put it back in the mailbox.
Or no, or not open it at all, right?
Yeah, don't open it.
Hmm.
Yeah, just you see something from a court, return to sender, send it back.
Gotcha.
But if it's something that you feel is like more important, then take it, put it in an envelope, write that letter, write that note, send it back, send a copy to the court, They just keep doing that. And they can't get you for not showing up because there's no contract.
Hmm.
Any other questions? It's not really that long and it's not that complicated. So, this one isn't going to be very long, but it's just very simple. And I'll put the document here. Um, I'll put it in here and I'll put it in the group.
So, Kent,
Yeah.
is this only from the court? What if you get a letter from a company? Can you do this process?
Yeah, you can use it for anything.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome, buddy. So, court, I'm going to drop it in the court cases in the free group. It's called Avoid Being Served Traps. Anybody else have any questions?
What if it was delivered by a, let's say, post office worker, and you signed for it, or somebody signed for it in your household?
Well, first is I wouldn't do that.
Well, let's say it's somebody in the household that
Yeah, it's the
didn't know
same
anything
thing.
about it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You just take it, you put it in an envelope, write the letter, send it back.
Gotcha. So it doesn't matter how it was received. But isn't it considered to be served if it was delivered by a postal worker or a police officer or whoever?
Right. It was served and then it was sent back because it was served wrong.
Inappropriately to the wrong
Yeah,
person.
right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right,
Okay.
because they can't. Here's the thing. The person doesn't exist. So they can't possibly say, "Oh, I served it to the person," because the person that they're serving doesn't exist. Remember the doctrine of parity, right? That all courts are a fiction, an artificial entity, and they can only have jurisdiction over other artificial entities. So the only thing that they can serve in a court is an artificial entity. You're not an artificial entity. So they can't serve the name. So they get you to step in as surety. So when you send it back and you do the third party mailing, that's an appearance. You're like, oh, I appeared, right? I appeared through paper, a vessel. The vessel appeared, and they can't deny that because it's rebutted. You don't have to say I rebut this because when you send it back, it's rebutted. It's what it does, it's not what it says. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes. What if you made a mistake and opened up the letter?
That's fine.
Can you do the process?
Yep, you just do the same process. You just take what you opened up, you write the letter, you put it in an envelope, you put both their address and the return address. Is both addresses on the front, put the green, these things. One of these on, but don't put the signature card on the back, just this. It's only $5. Well, I think
Thank you.
it's like seven, I think now. Freaking ripoff.
There was one guy on TikTok that mails the certified mail envelopes without any postage, and he says they have never been rejected. Is it
Yeah,
possible to do it for
yeah,
these?
there's a federal law that says that it's illegal for them to charge postage. So yeah, there's a process out there for that. I just don't fuck with it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't know. I got enough problems in my day than fighting the post office for 32
So,
cents.
so you pick your battles then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the driver's license thing. Like I don't drive without a license.
Oh, okay.
It's just
So
not.
you decided to keep yours, huh?
Yeah, and I rescissioned it, right? I keep the identification,
Mm-hmm.
but I send a letter to the state saying that I don't acquiesce to your jurisdiction.
Well, like Pat Devine, he rescissioned his license, but he kept the state ID.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was also one video where I watched that it says that per constitution you can still mail private mail for 2 cents. And what you do is when you write your address, you
Yeah.
write it like we write it, the full spelling of everything. And for zip, you put zip exempt.
Yeah.
And that puts you out of the jurisdiction. It's 2 cents, any letter up to, I guess, 100 ounces.
That's funny. Yeah, I've never tried that. I mean, I've seen those things where people have talked about them, but I've never tried it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess until we're up to speed on everything and have enough protection around us, it's best not to poke the bear,
Well, it's
so to
just
say.
that like I don't know, for like $5 or like $10 for a priority envelope, like I'm not doing that at this point. Like I'm not arguing about that. I'm already fighting. I fight with the IRS, I fight with the state, I fight with all these tax, places and fight over, who's going to file documents and who's not, and whatever. So when it gets to the post office, I'd just rather like, if I have to do something where it needs to be private mail, then I just buy the stamps like this, the $1 ones.
But how do you know how much the envelope is going to weigh so that you can put appropriate number of stamps? Do you go to the post office and ask them to weigh it for you,
Yeah.
Uh, and then not send it?
No, and then
You
I
just
have,
basically,
no, I just bring them with me. And then I'll go in there and they're like, it's 17 bucks. And then I just take the stamps and
Oh, okay, so you do it right there. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, I live in a
Yeah,
small town, so they really don't throw a fit. There's nobody waiting in line. So
yeah, if I send it to Pima, usually on the return envelope, that's how they do it. They put stamps instead of their electronic or whatever. They
yeah.
put the actual stamps
Yeah, because
because they asked me.
they have a drawer full of rolls of stamps
Hmm.
at a place like that, right? They don't even care if they put too many on.
It's funny because I thought maybe if it's prepaid, they can just put the same stamp as they put on your initial envelope on the other envelope that it's been paid for, but they actually put actual stamps,
Yeah.
post stamps. That's interesting.
Yeah. Any more questions about this concept here? Like I said, I put a copy of it in the chat in Zoom, and I put a copy of it in the court stuff on the free group. So you can you can pick it up there and just read it. It tells you everything. It's really simple. And if you got any more questions about it, just go ahead and
Would
buzz me on
would
the free.
Would you recommend us getting a return to sender stamp or something like that?
No, I just write
No,
yes.
you just write it by your hand.
Yeah, that's better anyway. Like you want to get in the practice of like handwriting things. And
Oh,
when you
okay.
get into like dealing with like judges and chambers, everything has to
Hmm.
be handwritten,
Oh, okay.
right? So
Really?
you can't type out a document and go and get in the chambers. You have to handwrite them. Think about this. In 1700,
Hmm.
did they have computers, right? Every document was handwritten. And when they had to make a copy, they had to handwrite another copy out. Like they didn't have a copy machine or a Xerox.
Mm. And it still stands today, huh?
Yeah. So if you're going to
Oh.
get in the chambers, which is
Wow.
inequity. Like you have to handwrite everything.
Hmm.
Some people like go through this whole thing about color, right? Do it in red, do it in black, do it in blue. I do it in when I handwrite stuff for the chambers, I always do it in blue. But don't do anything in red. So
So
what color is your blood in your body?
purple.
Blue, right? That's why they call it blue blood, right? Red blood is the blood outside your body or dead
Exposed to
blood,
oxygen.
yeah, dead blood cells. So when you write in red, you're invoking the dead, which is not what we want to do. So I don't do the red thing. The only thing I'll do red is like registered mail things. I'll write the letters, the numbers in red, or certified mail, I do it in green. But I
So
don't shout in red.
in my olden days when I studied calligraphy, there's actually a font called Chancery
Yeah.
font, and it looks like
Yeah,
a
that
very
the old
elaborate,
writing.
yeah,
Yeah.
calligraphy that Washington D.C. probably uses for
Well,
their
yeah, and that's
documents.
but that's what that was. Like lawyers, when they wrote out a document, they hand wrote that calligraphy,
Hmm.
and you can see it. I mean, I don't know if you can find that in the usufruct. I taught you guys that um Thomas Jefferson letters, those are all written that way.
Hmm.
Everything was in writing. And this
Constitution is written in that way.
Yeah, so I've been watching. I don't know if you ever guys get the chance to like watch this show called Taboo. It's with Tom Hardy, and it's basically during that time period. And I was noticing, like, right when I was like watching this stuff, and I was noticing that every single time they got a letter, right, the margins were folded in, and then the letter was tri-folded, right, and then the trifold had the wax up here, right? And then they had the signet ring, which they would put their mark in the wax. Then they just write on it like whoever's name, right? So then they'd open it and they'd always open it and they'd have those flaps on the side. This is why there's margins. This is why when they do paperwork and you set margins, is because when they wrote letters back in the old days, they had to keep them in the margins because the flaps that they folded protected the edge of the paper and the writing. So that when they folded it up, right, it was always that size. So it was really interesting. When I was watching that, I was like, oh, that's why there's margins on the paper. So you see? Anyway. All right, we're out of time. So thank you everybody for coming. And again, I put the copies of this document out there so you can read it. This is recorded, so it's going to be out there for free. I got a lot of videos to edit, so it's going to be a little bit before I get them all posted. But thanks for coming, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
All right. Thank you, Kenneth.
Yep, bye.